Online fintech startup firm Kuda out of Nigeria that offers digital banking services has announced it's raised $10 million, biggest seed round ever raised in Africa. According to CEO Babs Ogunde, the funding comes on the back of strong demand for its services and its ambitions to become the go-to bank, not just for living on the continent, but for Africans in the diaspora. $10 million raise is being led by European venture capital firm Target Global, along with Entree Capital and SBI Investment, plus other notable individual fintech founders and angels. Prior to this $10 million raise, Kuda had raised $1.6 million in a pre-seed round to launch a beta version of its service. And joining us exclusively is the CEO of Kuda, Babs Ogunde. Good morning to you, Babs. Thank you so much for joining us. And congrats on the seed round. Just to illuminate things for people, how does a funding seed round work? Because there's some people who think that the funds just go directly into the startup's account and you just got $10 million sitting there. So how does it work?
Yeah, thank you for having me. Yeah, look, essentially it's money meant for sort of building the company, adding value to the company, and it just allows us to, things like get the best possible staff to help us build this business. So yeah, and the investors that have come in. They have great conviction, not just in us, but also in Africa, in Nigeria. So yeah, and that's how it works. It does actually come into our account.
Okay.
But not into our personal account.
Right.
It's the company's account.
Gotcha.
So when you raise money, you're basically sharing the company with more people. So not just in terms of finances, but in terms of sort of intellectual capacity, network. It takes a village to build a truly sort of big organization, and that's really what we're trying to do with Kuda.
Fantastic. And so as far as, I think you've already, I was about to ask you about the deployment of the funds to be put to effective use. So it's going to be pretty much, you're looking at expansion, is that right? And deepening your services?
Yes, running a bank is capital intensive. So we have great ambition. So as I said, people are very important. We need to get the best people to help us, and we need to get into sort of different regions as well. Sort of the world is becoming increasingly smaller in terms of just the way we communicate, the way we interact with each other. And the beauty about having a digital offering is we are able to kind of just move into different regions and sort of have operations in different countries a lot easier than it would be for sort of the traditional brick and mortar. But yeah, so yeah, it's a lot of expansion. It's a lot of improving the product, making sure the existing customers are enjoying, a much smoother process in terms of all the things that we're trying to offer to them. And unfortunately, we need quite a lot of money to do that. So we will be this raise it's kind of typical of what is required to build a big financial institution.
Great stuff. Okay, just so we don't confuse any of our viewers, there was an image there which we saw on social media of this virtual AI-powered credit card that's you're swiping your finger through that, and look, there it is, and you've got your transactions just appearing on there on the screen, being digitally a digital image. Is that the future? Now that's not from Kuda, just so our viewers know. But is this where banking is going, Babs? What we're seeing on the screen right now?
I mean, technology is moving, innovation is moving, we can get there, so it's not impossible for this to be mainstream and, I don't know, in the next few years for us to see this kind of thing happening where there's kind of like a hologram and whatnot. But, essentially, fundamentally, banking doesn't really change, You look after people's money and you lend money and you help people sort of get access to their money as and when they need it. That's essentially what banking is. That will never change. but it's how you do it, how the channels you use, the experience you provide, and the price point that you provide, that you allow people to sort of interact with your products with. So that's a very nice sort of image you showed up. But yeah, it's just a channel that sort of makes it looks nice aesthetically, but fundamentally, under the bonnet, it's what are you doing? How fast are your processes? How efficient are you at sort of solving, issues when they arise? How easy is it for customers to actually open accounts in the first place? How affordable is your product? And that's really what Kuda is about, making all of these things really possible, creating a really seamless process, and ensuring that people can afford to interact with their bank. You don't have to go to a branch before you have an issue resolved. You should be able to sit at home or wherever you are. It's like sending a message to a friend, and the issue is resolved. That's all you care about as a customer, and that's really what Kuda is about, just solving all these issues with the least possible friction as possible.
Fantastic. Now, does a historic funding round of this size, because this, again, largest coming out of Africa, does it come with more pressure on you and your team to meet performance metrics from your investors?
Yeah, look, I think generally we put pressure on ourselves anyway. Building a bank from scratch is already pressure. So I think it more than anything, it gives us confidence that sort of knowledgeable investors and business builders believe in us and believe in what we're doing. They believe in Kuda and the team in Nigeria, in Africa. So we need to have the ability to thrive under this sort of belief, But like anything in life, there is always pressure in whatever you do. But we see it more as a challenge that we're happy to take on, and it's an opportunity as well. We're very humbled by the fact that we have sort of all this faith being shown in us, not just by investors but also by customers. And we're grabbing it and making sure we don't sort of disappoint all our stakeholders.
Great stuff. So, of course, this funding came from foreign investors. Babs, can you see a future in Nigeria where this kind of money can be raised locally, or is that still a ways to go?
Well, the truth is, I have to say that the money is there locally. It's just, how local investors choose to deploy capital. There are some local investors that are investing, but of course, it's not an asset class that is as popular as, say, for example, real estate, in Nigeria. But I think the more we as entrepreneurs and founders and startups show success, the more we will get local investors to see it as a viable asset class. So yeah, the money is available. We just need to convince everybody to invest in us. And I hope the Kuda story and some other sort of startups, technology startups, are starting to show that. And in the future, we hope that this is normal, this is commonplace, and it shouldn't be as an historical event as this. But that comes with success. That comes with us performing. Some of us have had the opportunity to do this, to really do well. It will definitely, sort of have a domino effect on all types of investors, both local and international.
Fantastic. Now, still on that, to what level do you build a firm to where foreign investors take this kind of interest and trust in you to be able to want to put this sum of money into the company?
I think it can come from any level, really. It's just, how confident are you in telling your story? How confident are you in sort of demonstrating the opportunity in your business or in the region that you're trying to execute in? it all boils down to the story and just the resilience you have in terms of convincing people, investors and financiers to back you. So it doesn't mean that once you have a great story, you just get money all of a sudden. It's a long process. You have to understand, how investors think. You have to understand what they're looking for. There are different types of investors. Some people want to invest a lot of money. Some people want to invest small amounts of money. Some people want to be hands-on. Some people just want to give you money and just wait for you to come back and say, yep, you've multiplied it, 30-fold. So you have to really understand sort of who you're asking money from. And all of these things is what kind of makes it slightly easier to raise capital. So we have to do a lot of research on our side as well, as founders. And that way, it'll be easier for us to convince people to believe in us and for us to be able to, have the opportunity to build, our dreams, so to speak.
Great stuff. And speaking of dreams, Babs, this is coming not long after Paystack, another Nigerian startup firm, was acquired by Stripe San Francisco to the tune of reported $200 million. Now, here you are now. You've got Kuda now making news as well with this $10 million raise. What does this do for Nigeria's image on the global scale as far as technology is concerned?
Look, I think it's a great news. And we have at least we have an exit, a viable exit from a really great company built out of Nigeria, from a great company in America. It just adds foil to the belief and conviction that there is viable opportunities in Africa, in spite of all the issues we have. And we do have issues. We have a lot of issues that we have to overcome. It's a lot more difficult to run a business in Nigeria. Even as a startup, it's very, very difficult. But there are young people doing this, especially in the technology space, and they are thriving. So things like, the Paystack Stripe collaboration, acquisition, Kuda's seed raise, it really, paints the picture that, there is resilience, there is talent, and there is opportunity in spite of all the hardship and all the issues. You can only imagine what Nigeria would be like if, we had a more conducive environment, a less challenging environment to work with, So these are things we have to do. There's a lot of sort of work that we all have to do collectively just to make, everything more workable for us. But I believe strongly that we will get there. We keep working together. We keep believing. I think it's good. It's good. It puts us on the map, and it makes people, it makes sort of foreign investors have a lot more belief. And I think it opens doors for more to come, because there is a lot of talent that just haven't had the opportunity that that we've had at Kuda, for example. And they need to be discovered as well.
Great stuff. Only got a minute to go, Babs, but quickly, the Central Bank of Nigeria has a financial inclusion plan of about 95% or so by 2023-24. I read a quote from you where you say you wanted to bank almost every African. How, if you can in a minute, do you think you can achieve that closing that financial inclusion gap?
Yeah, I mean, it's not a surprise that, half of the world's unbanked, almost 2 billion of them are in Africa, and Nigeria is like, probably the most important economy in Africa, so there are sort of a lot of unbanked. And we strongly believe that, the big challenge for, one of the biggest impediments is pricing and accessibility. And that's what Kuda is looking to do. We can offer banking at a price point that is affordable, free. You can't really get cheaper than free. So that entices people. That makes it make sense for the guy that doesn't have a lot of money. He doesn't have to pay, a heavy sum for doing a transfer or whatnot. And then accessibility, over time, we will get more and more people using sort of internet, using smartphones. Prices will come down, become cheaper, and more and more people will have these devices and have access to internet. And that way, we will be positioned to be able to address a lot of this sort of lack of financial access issues. So we're well positioned to be able to reach Africans wherever they are, locally and internationally.
Fantastic stuff. We've been speaking with Babs Ogundoye, the CEO of Kuda, again, the historic $10 million seed round raise coming out of Africa. Babs, thank you so much for talking to us. We wish you luck. And, we appreciate your time coming on the show.